Hi, my name is Dino Monoxelis from Ampeg. I'm here at Guitar Center today to show you the PF-50T as well as the PF-112 HLF. First and foremost, it's 50 watts all tube. You get that nice big fat Ampeg sound out of a 50 watt all tube head. What more can you ask for? The feature set on the front of the amp is pretty straightforward. And like I say, if you're familiar with any one of our amps from our Pro Series to our Classic Series, you're going to be right at home with the 50T. You've got 3-band rotary, bass, mid-range, and treble with a 5-position mid-range selector switch. What this allows you to do is you select one of 5 frequencies, and then you can cut or boost it with the mid-range control. You also have our famous ultra low and ultra high, which is found on all our Pro Series and Portaflex and Classic Series stuff as well. Gain control and then master volume. Now, the one thing I want to point out about the PF-50T is that this head will mount to any one of our existing Portaflex flip-top cabs, such as the PF-115HE or the PF-210HE. So if you already have one of those cabinets, this head will retrofit perfectly onto the lid of either one of those cabinets. It features 2 XLR outs on the back of the amplifier. The first XLR is a preamp out. So this takes the signal directly after the preamp. And you can select pre or post. If you select pre, you're taking the signal directly from the input of the amp straight through to the XLR and bypassing the tube preamp. If you select post, you're taking the XLR signal after the preamp, so you're incorporating that nice warm tube sound into your signal that's going out the front of house through that XLR. The other XLR is a transformer balance line out. Now what this does is it takes the signal after the preamp as well as after the power section. So you can emulate that same sound that you would be sending to a speaker cabinet out to a front of house or studio mixing console. This is fantastic for guys that have project studios that can't necessarily record with a cabinet in their project studio, but yet they still want that cabinet sound. You can achieve that without having to run a cabinet and a microphone and disturbing your neighbors. It's also perfect for live situations where, for instance, if you're running what they call a clean stage and you can't have cabinets on stage, you can use this basically as your direct box and send that live all-tube Ampeg rig to a front of house system. One of the other great features about the XLR line outs on the back of the amp is, unlike a lot of tube amps, you don't have to have this connected to a speaker load. So you can run the head in your project studio or live without having it connected to a speaker cabinet. Really great feature for guys that do recordings, or like I said, if you're playing on a clean stage and you can't have a speaker cabinet connected to it. So I'm going to talk briefly about the PF-112 HLF as well. PF-112 HLF is obviously a single 12-inch stamp frame eminence driver with a 1-inch compression horn that can be defeated on and off with a switch on the back panel. So let me just demonstrate real quick some of the cool sounds that we can get out of the 50T and the 112 cab. This is completely flat. Okay, now let me dial in a typical sound that I would use. Bring in some bass, leave the mid and everything else alone. Now, if you want to get like a nice scoop sound for a slap sound, ultra low, leave the bass, scoop some of the mids. And then last, One of my favorite sounds is what we call the Jamerson sound, what he used to achieve out of his B15. Ultra low, out, bass all the way up, mid-range down, treble down. So there you go, guys. That's the PF-50T and the PF-112 HLF. Be sure to check it out at guitarcenter.com.